Welcome. I can't even talk, right? I'm still discombobulated from traveling. So, welcome to episode, I think this is 27. Like, you come every 10 episodes of Dr. G at the Heart of Healthcare. This is the NHPCO recap. Hello, friend.
Hi, I'm so excited to do this because it was such a great conference. And we finally got to meet in person.
Hug. I, okay, everybody, we have so much to talk about. When I was watching Dr. Templeton in action, I was like, is she a real person? Because I've only seen her. Okay, I did the Weatherby medical director thing back April of 2022. And then I don't know, I see you online. I see you. I support Weatherby because it's the bomb. Medical directors, executives, get your people into that class because you need to do stuff right. Um, and so we've seen each other online, and then we did episode 9 and 10, our hospice regulatory myth busting, and then you came back to do the goals of care for episode 20. And of course, we have to recap that amazing conference. Look, all this swag we're going to talk about. So, how was your travel back home to Texas?
Oh, so we all got those alerts, I think, at the conference that there was all this weather that was coming in. And
Yeah.
so I got into Dallas just fine. And then I flew to Abilene, which is about, 3 hours away. And when we finally landed in Abilene, Texas, the flight attendant so incredibly said, "You could have driven here faster than it took us to sit and wait in order to take off." So
Whoa.
it was rough. And then, of course, you're just discombobulated. Didn't charge my phone, and I was supposed to be at this big fancy photography event the next morning, and I arrived with a tie-dye shirt that was tie-dyed in makeup. So,
What? What happened?
so it exploded all over me while I was trying to do my makeup and drive at the same time, which 10 out of 10 don't recommend. Don't do that. But they assure me that they are going to be able to edit the pictures.
Wait a
So
minute. What exploded? Like your foundation or your
foundation.
lipstick?
Yeah. No, my foundation.
This is so
Oh,
embarrassing. We can multitask, but those snafus happen, right? Like I
yeah.
was delayed for 2 or 3 hours in Las Vegas. So I was totally messed up. I was fine. I was like, okay, let me get my cute little snack and then I'll be at my gate. And then I was in the Vegas airport all that time. And then it got dark. And then I was kind of done with human contact after that.
Yes, me too. When I
And then
got when I got my food in the airport, I said, "Can you sit me where I don't speak to anybody? Because I just need to be by myself."
yeah, because that just shows how we need to reset, right? We learned so many amazing things that we're going to get to, but I was just done. The delays, the travel stuff just threw me off. So we won't mention any airlines here, but we had fun getting back home and we're happy to be home. I'm kind of catching up. I actually missed a 7 a.m. thing yesterday. The people were texting me and I said, oh, I don't know. I'm just messed up. I'm sorry because I was delayed. So, anyway, well, let's start talking about it and then share our fun that we had. So, I know you did the pre conference of the NHPCO Annual Leadership Conference for people who don't know what ALC stands for. So, tell us some of your takeaways from the pre con.
Oh, I loved it. So they did multiple different things. I was a part of the combined quality and compliance and then went through with the compliance, and they offer a certificate for those of you who want to do compliance training. And Weatherby did a little compliance webinar 2 days ago, and they asked, where could you go for this information? And I was so grateful to be able to say, well, I just attended this. It was so good. They did basics, the conditions of participation and those conditions for payment or conditions for coverage. They went through just the landscape. Hush Blackwell did incredible presentations about auditing and regulations. They spoke to the program integrity efforts. Judy Lynn Person spoke to where we're at in terms of the special focus group going forward. I just found it to be so comprehensive. basics and advanced, really get you out into very high yield practices going forward. I was just so excited that I had the opportunity to attend.
That's awesome. So then that was before the actual conference started on Sunday. So I flew in, had a 6 a.m. flight Sunday morning, and the kickoff was the amazing, look, I won, so I have to show my stuff. Hospice Doctor's Widow. I won. I always win stuff. And how refreshing. I've been her fan online and also got this pen from her about precious time.
I love it.
Precious time, that time that we have. I'm going to tell you what she defined as precious time. Maybe I can remember it by heart. She said, it's the time to say the things we didn't say, and then we don't say things that we shouldn't say. Right?
Yeah, so good. Her husband, who, was the inspiration, in addition to so many losses that she's experienced in her life.
Oh yeah. Her
Just,
mom, what, her mom or sister, her brother, only brother, and something like that.
there was one other one. Yeah. I mean, that's how he would describe this. And it just, I think for you and I that are still boots on the ground, seeing patients and families, to me, I definitely want to move that phrase forward. That it's precious. It gets you in the mindset to say the things that need to be said and let go of the stuff that doesn't. And I love that perspective from her. I downloaded some of her journal pages actually to do some coloring and journaling. I'm going to try that. I thought that she has just great content. Amazing.
Oh, right. Because at heart, she's an artist and an
Yeah.
executive, right? She said, what, serial CEO?
Yes. Yeah.
So she has all that excellent, you know, executive function, I should say. And then she's also a beautiful artist. So I love that. Let me find my notes. This app was so good, by the way. I emailed my notes to myself. They all went in one document to my email address. Wasn't that cool?
So neat. I
Yeah.
wasn't that fancy, but I'm glad that you figured that out.
I figured it out. Like, and it has everything organized by day and even the title of the thing. I mean, how did they do that? I don't know. But anyway, here we are. So that was Wednesday. Then let's
Monday.
see. Oh, see, I'm discombobulated
You skipped the
still.
conference. Yeah.
I am
Me
discombobulated.
too.
The conference went until Wednesday. I was in Little Rock, Arkansas from Sunday to Wednesday. I should just go off my pictures and then maybe that'll bring my mind back on track. I tried to put the highlights in some photos, day 1, day 2, day 3 for me. Hopefully that helps if I can get myself back on track. So then let's move to Monday morning when we went to, I guess we had breakfast and then our friend Ben was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yep.
talk about Ben and that opening keynote on Monday morning.
I just really appreciated his words. I was There were lots of ways we could have gone with introducing a leadership conference. And I think that him speaking towards the challenges that we have in this landscape and what we can do in terms of doing things together in collaboration. I that really is how I identify as moving forward and holding accountability. It's not to say that we're making excuses for fraud or bad players or incorrect, truly intentionally incorrect actions. Absolutely not. Holding accountability. But if we're going to divide ourselves, we're going to make the hospice movement slower and not as impactful. So I really appreciated the words that he shared.
I'm glad that, you mentioned that about, being divided. The only way that I can describe it is like a kid. And I know I'm not a kid, I'm knocking on 50, right? But people can get this analogy. I feel like a kid whose parents are getting a divorce and they're fighting. And what does that mean for me? And my heart is always to the people who have limited access to our care, the people who are not getting the care because whoever is not doing the referrals upstream, doing the primary palliative care, people are not getting the hospice care. And I always go back to them. And so when I see all these discussions about bad actors and it gets to the public, I'm thinking, okay, well, what are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? Because we're boots on the ground, like you said, or heels on the ground, because I wear heels too, not just cowboy boots like you. So we are out here in the streets. I was on call during the conference. Like I was walking around with my purple phone, you
Yeah.
know, on call, taking care of my teams and taking care of my patients. Thank you for, they pay for us to go get educated. And, we're all doing our best to take care of people. One of our values, the number one value is patients and families come first. So that's what I always go back to. And that's what this episode is for. Even if you didn't go to the conference, you're not a doctor, you're not a nurse, social worker, chaplain, you're just listening. We're here for you. Everything we do is for you. So anyway, thank you for addressing that. Then that keynote speaker, like the soccer, he did everything, soccer and all that stuff. Like what he said addresses this division. I'm calling you up, not calling you out.
Exactly, 100%. And I had to steal that phrase when I presented the next day. It just, that just really resonated with me in tackling fear and discomfort. So just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it isn't something that you should do. That's actually where you're going to see your growth and your rebirth, is how he walked through that cycle. And it was just, I loved how he proved his point by, gearing us up to this great story about boxing or was he MMA?
Jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Let's say his name, Marcus Whitney.
Marcus Whitney, you are
yes.
And we were all amped up, and then he lost. And
oh.
But that's so good because in this world where we live in social media and Instagram, all these things, and you see the best picture, it takes a lot of failure to get to that. And so I just loved, that it's not doing things poorly or incorrectly. It's going to happen. You're going to fail. It's about how we respond to that. And that's really right where our industry is right now.
Oh my gosh. I found my notes. Like, look, discombobulated. He said, we need to accept failure, that it's part of the superhero's journey.
I wrote that down.
And part of ascent from the underworld. Whoa.
Yeah, I loved it. I have like pages of notes from him. I thought it was the perfect speaker for our group, especially to get us started.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he said, here are my notes. We got to have a mission, right? We all have a mission, right? Like I'm here personally to educate and empower. Everyone has their own mission, but we're taking care of people, a ragtag group of people. I don't think we're ragtag. Like we can clean up, right? You were really cute, by the way.
Thank you.
Courageous and classy.
Yes, love that.
Maybe bad and bougie. And then Nashville. Actually, I'm going to Nashville for my best friend's 50th birthday. One of my best friends. So maybe I'll ring him or something like that. But yeah, that was amazing.
Oh man, what if he was on the podcast? Wouldn't that be something?
Hey, I don't know if I'm on his level yet, but hey, if you're listening to this, come next season because I'm taking a break. Season finale. So then tell us about some of your classes you had that day. Maybe let's just go day by day and say a couple highlights. So we did that keynote. We're all inspired. And then what did you do on Monday? What are some of the things you did?
Right. So, I love regulations and compliance. So
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know. And so I had the opportunity to go over to listen to Dr. Ed Martin speak. And, Judy Limperson shared this quote with me about him, is that when Ed speaks, people listen, and they do. He's so good at being one, he's brilliant, but very down to earth. And he has this dry sense of humor. He was talking about coding in terms of ICD-10 coding. And he was talking about the code about being hit by a goat. And I just love what he had to say. I think he made it very relatable. very not intimidating, and it was just absolutely great. I enjoyed listening to him speak. Were you at that
Yeah.
one? I think you
Yeah.
were.
We
Yeah.
went together because we literally met at that moment. We had the keynote, and that's when you did your little dance,
Then
your
it's in
little
the awkward
shimmy.
days. Yeah. Yeah.
You did good. I'm proud of you. But so we went to that together, and then we ran into our friend from Mayo.
Oh,
Um,
Dr. Corey Ingram, we're going to call you
yes,
out on this podcast. We adore you. We think you're doing great stuff.
yes, Mr. Bowtie.
Mhm.
So we went there and learned about relatedness. So I was there, and that's when I saw you standing up because you kind of went to the side, and I said, "Is she real? Like, is she really here?" And I'm not looking at her on a screen. So that's what that was about. So what else did I do that day? Let's see. Rethinking palliative. So there was a session about community palliative care. I actually really miss it. I want to get my hands back into it. They were talking about various models of payment, given that we don't have an official one from Medicare for the community palliative care programs. And so, anyway, I went to that to just put that away in my brain so that I can use it.
I
Um,
went to, after that, of course, something about auditing and appeals, as you would at all be surprised. And it was by Meg Pekarsky from Hush Blackwell, just doing amazing work helping our hospices, but also with Amanda Tippin with Trust Bridge. And she said something that I loved, just loved in my nerdy regulatory world. Meg had asked her if they do summaries for when they're responding to these audits, and she came forward and said, we don't really use summaries because we want our documentation to speak for itself, and so we've chosen to invest in education, and that's where we spend our time instead of how we're going to respond, which of course they're doing that, but we're going to invest in our clinicians so that they are empowered to do great documentation so they can spend more of their time at the bedside taking care of our patients. And Amanda, if you hear this, I just love that. I wish more people were focusing that, yeah, we can respond to these audits, but we have to invest in teaching our team on how to do things the right way first.
Duh. Yeah. Enrich our teams. I'm starting to do some physician enrichment, to help out. Everyone can't be like us. So let us do a little class. Maybe I'll do a little lunch and learn, and they can rub off, and then they can do the things they're supposed to do. I was sharing with someone, out here in the field, they call us the Wild Wild West in California, where we have the most hospices than
Mhm.
any place, right?
Right.
But everyone is scrambling for a medical director, a random doctor to do stuff. Well, why don't we teach them to do it right?
Yeah.
Because they don't know what CTIs are.
Right.
They
And
don't
that's
even
my
know.
passion. I'm always teaching to the engaged hospice physician. What does that mean to be engaged? It's not just signing orders. It's
Yeah,
certainly, it's also not just symptom management. It's, you have to have a sound understanding of the rules, the regulations, both for quality and for payment. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my language, the engaged hospice physician. We need more of them.
and you don't want to just sign stuff because in your state somebody went to jail because they signed something and our signature matters, people.
Your signature matters. I will, when we call things an attestation, I just want to remind people that when you attest, you're attesting to the federal government, y'all.
Whew.
I mean, let's just take a step back to have common sense as physicians. And really, we need to invest in ourselves in terms of education and understanding what we're doing, why, and what the implication is.
Yeah, perfect segue into the next session we went to with all the medical directors,
Yes.
hospice medical directors, and hospice physicians. Um, that was, let's see, the Arkansas hospice
Right.
people.
Dr.
They were in,
Brian Bell.
yes, and they gave us a Starbucks card, and getting us all comfy in their state. So we had a little roundabout, introduced ourselves, and got to connect. That was fun.
Mhm. Yeah, I loved meeting some people. Like you said, we see a lot of great, and we're talking about motivating and elevating these people, but we really have some amazing doctors out there doing really good work. And so it was really neat to meet some of those physicians in that peer-to-peer. Thank you, NHPCO, for giving us some time just to meet each other and connect.
Absolutely. And then, oh my gosh, I didn't bring it in here where I'm filming. But then I was total fangirl and went to Hospice Nurses Speak, Strengthen Your Hospice Team. Speaking of your team, I met Nurse Shelley in person from Lafayette, Louisiana, and she had bound um her bound report from her Your Opinion Matters survey.
Oh,
She is literally single-handedly trying to save the art of nursing.
yeah. I talk about the art of medicine all the time and bedside nursing. And this is why it's a nurse-driven movement in
Mm-hmm.
hospice. It was volunteers, these um, providers who just wanted to serve people. And it wasn't just nurses, but man, the art of nursing, that's a skill set with accountability, compassion, love, keeping people safe. I mean, I love that. Love that.
Yeah. So that was like the highlight of that day. And then we went to the exhibit room that day, right? And got this swag. Thank you,
Mhm.
Well Sky.
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you do another session after the hospice medical directors one?
I did go to the quality and regulations hot topic because,
Okay,
as we
nerd.
clearly established, this is my nerdo space. And then in the exhibit hall, I was just honored to work with Weatherby and meet new potential clients that we can help educate, help them respond to audits, those types of things. It was great, great experience.
It was so fun to meet
Mhm.
Pauline Judge
Yeah. PJ.
Weatherby,
Yeah,
as
she's
in
our, if you ever
B.
interact with Weatherby or go to a conference, she's getting you straight and keeping you in the right path.
Yeah, she's been so kind to get on in here for Endwell. Um, that's going to be in LA November 16th. So I'm excited to save $100 on that. So I'm glad they put that in the little swag bag. And then the Well Sky, I actually was educated. And look, I got these glasses too. Look. We're actually supposedly moving to an EMR, Vivitas, but my previous experience with Will Sky was, um, mm, I'll just say that. And so I talked to the reps there, and they actually showed me the actual platform. The one that I used before was some old, outdated thing that they're no longer using. So I was happy, so I can stop having a bad attitude about the change that's coming.
That's good. Sometimes but that's so key is to make these personal connections at these conferences to help you make informed decisions. Because when you know better, you do better. And, sometimes it just takes making some improvements. And
Yeah, yeah, and
my son is outside running around in those sunglasses right now, just so you know, those Well Sky sunglasses. He was,
oh,
yeah.
funny. They're actually nice. My granddaughter's coming over, so I'm gonna let her play around with these because they are super cute. And then I got the best pen ever. No lie, you can put this on your thing. This is from Optum, and then I found out that I had to compliment them first on the annual conference, which was 2 weeks ago, because it's excellent programming every year. It's a virtual conference, fully online. I have immediate takeaways, for wound care, for medication management every year, and I always compliment them. I tag people on social media, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I run the social media. I talk to you, but whatever." So it was fun to meet people that I know virtually. But this is a good pen, guys. I actually want like 10 more. It's better. I mean, it's kind of on this pen, like the pen I use every day. But anyway, that's what I did there, and we had some good food.
So moving on to Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I serve on the NHPCO regulatory committee, and we got to join with their quality committee in the morning. Again, shocker. And so we had just some great conversations about what do we want to do? What do we want to advocate for? How can we get ahead of things instead of being, responding to things, especially in terms of the financial reimbursement space and how value-based care is moving forward. And so that was just a fun meeting. And I didn't get to go to the keynote that morning. Did you get to go to the keynote?
That keynote, let me rewind in my notes.
That was Jonah and David Stillman. They were the father-son
Oh
group.
yeah, that was really fun. The thing that stands out is they were bridging, the different generations, the baby boomers, the X gen, I'm Gen X, the Ys, the Zs, Z slash millennials, and kind of translating that. And what I took away is they were helping us see how we need to work together, how we have more things in common than not, and also how this new generation, people may complain about them, but they've always had these devices, right? They're phygital. That was their little term. And they have side hustles. Some people may see I have a picture of a random person who's working at the convention center because she was a social butterfly. I'm going to give her a shout out. Her name was, her middle name is Unique. What's her first name? Oh my gosh, discombobulated. I'm so sorry. But we met her. She works there. She graduated from college. She has a business where she's a chef. And you wouldn't, if you judge a book by its cover, you wouldn't know that. But these young people have side hustles and they're doing stuff. And this is what they do. So you can't make rules like, okay, you have to be here for 12 hours and I'm going to have access to you. And you can't log into your business while you're at the office because then they may say, okay, well, I'm turning my phone off at 5. Do you want that? So anyway, it was good dialogue that day. And I really enjoyed, having the father son where everyone could relate on some level.
Yeah.
And then I went to your GIP so I could know what's up, and you held it down on the documentation we should have for general inpatient level of care. And Judy Lunn was on the stage with you. You guys are good partners. I love that.
Yeah, that was our first time really presenting together ever. And so I introduced that session as saying it was an honor and privilege and probably the highlight of my career. I just think that boy, she has just done so much incredible work that the picture that they presented later at the gala of her on the stairs the day that this benefit was voted in by Congress. And since then, she's just been this, what was it, classy and courageous, or it, she tackles hard things. She does it with a finesse. And she's always representing hospices and our hospice beneficiaries. And so I just so much respect for her. And I was, got to tell you, I was nervous for that presentation. I
Are you
was
serious?
so nervous, so nervous. I just have so much respect for her. It was an honor to be up there with her.
I couldn't tell because you were up there like a boss. And I caught my little photo of you. I feel like I'm like the mom getting pictures of everyone, like, oh, let me get it and text it to them. You did it and you showed us what the criteria is and gave us language. And so I really, really appreciate that. And mentioning her on the stage, like when they showed that picture at the gala,
Mm,
ooh, I almost teared up just to know that I'm a part of this here and it's still going on and like a
yeah,
person. I mean, not 1982 was not that long ago. I mean, I was in elementary school, but still,
I wasn't
um
born, just so let's throw that out there.
oh man, you went
Zing.
there. No, I'm just like, so I was there. And so a little kid in elementary school. So it was such a special moment. Congratulations to you, um, Judy Lund, for everything you've done for the community. And I'm so happy. I didn't get to really talk to her, but I was in her
Yeah.
presence, and I feel grateful. I feel
Yeah,
grateful.
I cannot wait to see what she does next. She just has so much experience and is such an asset to the community. So I know she'll be bringing some great things forward here as she makes her transition into the next phase.
Oh man. Thank you again. So let's see. Then what do we do? Let's move on to Wednesday. And see what some of those highlights were. That closing keynote performance thingy seems like it was pretty fun. I missed that one because it was raining and I had work stuff to do in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I didn't get to appreciate that one. Hopefully it was recorded. But then I went on to actually let me rewind. I went to the responding to microaggressions and things like that. So to help in the DEI space, on Tuesday. I'm sorry I went out of order, you all. But I did a couple sessions that were back to back on helping the team because we deal with diverse communities. When we go to someone's door, we need to be able to connect with them, whatever culture they're from.
Mhm.
And so these things help us. And having diverse teams, helps us all be better. Various religions, various cultures, various
Socioeconomic
nationalities.
status. I mean,
Exactly.
it's all about meeting patients and families where they're at, and everybody is unique in their own way. And you can't connect with them when they're facing the most difficult period of their life, potentially, if you're not going to meet them where they at with who exactly they are. And requires vulnerability. I mean, and microaggression just, it's not vulnerable.
Hey, you said it. And then the other one was inclusive leadership, exploring innovative strategies to support patients and families. So those were two back-to-back sessions. Dr. Kimberly Kersine out of Atlanta was there. And also the chair of the DAC committee did the other session. And I learned about some of their research, first of its kind, that was published. I'll put a link to that in the show notes, but a lot of great work going on. And then Wednesday, I ended with Dr. Corey Ingram with the storytelling and a very vulnerable time where people shared stories and how we can use that, for our own processing of grief and getting the stories out and helping folks. So that was my journey.
Yeah, on Tuesday, I got to do another presentation, not do it, but listen to Hush Blackwell speak again. And then in the afternoon, I got to present with Ellen Folk from Avocare on deprescribing. And so I have to tell you, by Tuesday afternoon, we were joking that we just were mentally very drained and
Yes.
had a case of the sillies. And so we were on this tiny stage with a podium and chairs and tables, and the IT didn't all work out the right way. And so we were just trying not to kill each other and throw mics at each other's faces. But we looked up and it was standing room only. And so then we were like, oh my goodness, this is just kind of crazy, but we loved it. It was a great time to present about good quality and compliance. And then on Wednesday, I got to do the Medicare Administrative Contractor or MAC roundtable. And so I got to listen
Ooh, that was
to,
scary. Those were the scary people there.
well, you would think that, but they did such a lovely job, all three MACs, NGS, CGS, and Palmetto, of making themselves sound approachable. And they really were trying to be encouraging in terms of collaboration and education. I walked away from that really hoping that providers learned when they were engaged there that the idea is to improve. And so if we're working towards improvement, that maybe we can be a little more collaborative with our MACs. So I loved it. I love that experience.
That
But
was
then what about
amazing.
Tuesday night?
Oh, the gala. I have in my head, I have the best video of that saxophonist. I was in the front of the dance floor screaming. And bands, they kind of feel that energy. So that he started dancing. I'm going to post that little video. He was playing a little saxophone and then he started dancing with the saxophone. We had a blast.
Oh, good. So good.
I cannot believe that. I thought the annual assembly was everything, but this is the rest of the people, the executives, all those, the MAC. Ooh, oh my gosh. Like the other part of our tribe, it was awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
NHPCO.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic. The whole conference was great. The gala was just, another opportunity to kind of get together and let loose a little bit. We got to celebrate Judy and another gentleman, Mr. McCrae, received an award, and just incredible people out there doing incredible work. And we got to hang out and have fun.
And I just have it in my head. I want to dance with somebody. Whitney, because this is my Whitney year. That's how old I am.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, so thank you for joining me for this. I had to do the recap, and I want to share this thing that happened to me in the airport. And this kind of is apropos to what we do, right? The people. Someone was on their phone and they were talking to someone about, I guess, someone in the hospital, I'm assuming, but this is what I heard, and I'm paraphrasing. The liver can't get better. They said something about 15%, and the only way that she can live longer is if she gets dialysis. And I was just thinking, like, oh my God. I thought about our Goals of Care episode again, and I was like, I wonder if they have a palliative team there. I wonder if people are really telling them what they need to know, if they really understand. Because I was over humans, but then I heard that while I was boarding the flight, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I gave them a business card, hoping they'll find, the podcast, and maybe it'll help them in some kind of way, because we can't be everywhere, right? But they're the reason why we do everything. And if it's presented to them, they said the only way she can live longer is if she gets dialysis. Who wouldn't do it? But
Right.
do they know how long it's going to be? Do they know that they may have to make the decision to stop dialysis? Do they know that this person may not tolerate dialysis? All
Or even
these
what
things.
living means. Remember, we talked about what is your definition of life, quality of
Mm-hmm,
life. Living
mm-hmm.
is alive in that context. And that's not what human beings really make all of their choices off of. And so it's just interesting the verbiage that we use. Um, you're right. Why would you say, I'm not going to do that because they shouldn't live longer? It doesn't give you the space that you deserve to make an informed decision about what quality of life looks like to you. So, yeah, I'm so glad you were there for them. I had an experience on my way home from the conference before getting ready for the gala that the cab driver had just had hospice. And so he was just tearing up, and I was telling PJ with Weatherby that I was his bereavement we were going through, but he had the best things to say about hospice, just that they were there for him, that he was able to keep her at home like she wanted, and it was just so good. It was good to hear of a good experience and kind of invigorating about what we can offer to patients and families.
And that's why we're here. So we're all invigorated, even though we're discombobulated. I
Yeah.
got I got some sleep last night, and we were able to do this. So just thank you for putting on an amazing conference, NHPCO. Thank you for telling me about it. I didn't even know about it. I wasn't paying attention, and so I love to be a part of these things, and be enriched, so I can go back out in the streets
Yeah, you're
and
welcome.
help people. Yeah. And it was wonderful. So thank you for coming to Dr. G at the Heart of Healthcare. And we're going to put this out today, hot off the press, our highlights
Yeah.
from NHPCO ALC.
You can
And
do the
now we got,
awkward dance for the YouTube video. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, check
I
out.
think it was amazing. It wasn't like not Ellen, what was her name from Seinfeld? It wasn't bad.
Oh
You
yeah,
have
was it that
rhythm.
bad? Oh,
No,
good, good,
you have
good,
rhythm, so you're okay. Okay. So, but thank you for coming back on the show. And we're gonna figure out that holiday episode down the road. But this is gonna be the second to last episode before the season finale. This was our NHPCO ALC recap highlights, and I'm signing out. Dr. G, peace. Dr.
good. Thank
Templeton.
you. Thank you. Thank you.